Hello and welcome to Billy Ho Sports. Welcome to another Breeders' Cup Classic show. Today we're going to discuss the 2023 Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. So in this video, we'll go over, I believe we're calling it, or I'm calling it, the Elite Eight, eight contenders, and we're going to try to find some value, identify the chalk and whatnot. I think we all kind of know who the chalk is at this race. So anyway, I have multiple Breeders' Cup videos out there covering all the contenders for the big race, such as the Classic, Breeders' Cup Turf, Turf Mile, Distaff. So all kinds of things of that nature. Go check that out. In addition to providing the best I can in horse racing content, I also create daily fantasy sports content, aka DFS, DraftKings, FanDuel, stuff like that. Content, sports such as PGA and NFL. So swing by the channel and check it out. Now, pre-entries have been announced. Here's a list of the contenders for the Dirt Mile. As you can see on there, there's first preference and second preference. So I think it's fairly obvious. A few of these are going to the Classic, so I'm not including them in this video, like Mage, Bright Future, Senior Buscador. And then also 3 Technique, I believe I will cover in the Breeders' Cup Sprint video. So thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. Much appreciated. Give that thumbs up. Leave a comment. Let me know where you're at on your studies so far and your research into the Breeders' Cup. And let's get started. Codys Wish will return to defend his BC Dirt Mile title. He won back last year, 2022. I didn't like his chances in the Classic anyway. I think we all saw, kind of how he ran when he pushed his distance and his competition and whatnot. I think he's best at a mile and 7 furlongs. He's a sprinter. He's a good pressing closer type that flies. So anyway, he takes the horse racing world by storm last year, making his mark on the national stage with a 5-length victory in the Grade 3 Westchester Stakes, going a mile at Belmont Park. 2 races later, Codys Wish pulls off a stunning upset, defeating the reigning champion male sprinter, Jackie's Warrior, in the Saratoga Forgo Stakes. That was over 7 furlongs, so a star has born. On to 2023, Codys Wish extended the win streak to an impressive 6 victories, showcasing his dominance with clear-cut wins in the Churchill Downs Stakes, over 7 furlongs, following that back up by just an incredible burst of speed around the final turn at the Metropolitan Handicap on June 10th at Belmont. That's going a mile as well. So the streak comes to an end August 5th at Saratoga, where I think Codys Wish and the Connections probably dipped their toes into uncharted waters a little bit by finishing 3rd in the Whitney while attempting distance further than a mile. And looking closer at the Whitney, the actual run was not all that bad. It was a fine race. He did run 3rd, and it just happened to coincide with a moment of or what I call a watershed moment for the winner, White Abarrio, with that run down the stretch where he just blows everybody out. Experts have already stated, I agree, if White Abarrio runs that race at Santa Anita Park coming up, he's going to win again, period. So Codys Wish made his return to the winner's circle on October the 1st at Aqueduct, where he collected a 1.5 length victory, going 7 furlongs in the Vosburg Grade 2. And when I went back and looked at that race, you can formulate your own opinion. I feel like he had to grind it out more down the stretch than he should have. In previous races, you can see him blowing a lot better horses out down the stretch than the competition he faced here. So I think Codys Wish will be a well-deserved favorite, obviously, but likely an underlay. I don't know what the odds will get to. I think he'll have the crowd and the betting public behind him. So the odds aren't good, probably even money or worse. Just a guess. So anyway, Codys Wish will have stiff competition this year, as it looks like a couple of Dirt B trailers surprisingly entering the race. Preakness winner National Treasure, trained by Bob Baffert, will forego the Classic and go for this cutback in distance to the mile. National Treasure kicked off his racing career with a remarkable debut, going wire to wire, 6.5 furlong sprint to break his maiden as a 2-year-old. Next out, he faced a significant challenge, stepping straight into Grade 1 company in the American Pharoah Stakes at Santa Anita on October 8th. Last year, National Treasure put up a valiant effort, solid second place finish to Cave Rock, who was his stablemate. But Cave Rock was the runaway favorite 2-5, so impressive effort to keep pace with that. National Treasure, he dug in down the stretch, but obviously couldn't challenge. But he did firmly hold that second position, finished 3.5 lengths ahead of the third place finisher. That's of note. So National Treasure embarks on his third career race, entering the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and delivered a pretty commendable performance, finishing third. 2-year-old Champ Forte was the winner, and then stablemate Cave Rock was the runner-up. So finishing third behind those two is no small feat. So dipping into 2023, as a 3-year-old, National Treasure began his Derby trail. Third place finish in the Grade 3 Sham Stakes, January 8th. That was Santa Anita. He followed it scratch at the San Felipe, and then he had a bit of a troubled trip in the Grade 1 Santa Anita Derby. He kind of got pinned in a little bit going around the turn into the stretch, and finished an I-8 fourth place. So the pinnacle, obviously, is National Treasure skipping the Kentucky Derby. The pinnacle comes in the 148th running of the Preakness Stakes, May 20th at Pimlico. Wire-to-wire spectacle, triumph in leg 2 of the Triple Crown under the guidance of the Hall of Fame jockey Johnny V. John Velasquez. National Treasure set deliberate pace, 48.4 half, 113.2 3/4, leading a 7-horse field into a thrilling stretch battle where he really was challenged hard by Blazing Sevens. Actually briefly lost the lead, then came back, dug in fiercely for the win. Huge victory in my book. In the subsequent races, the Belmont was 1.5 miles. The Travers was the classic distance of 1.25 miles. He didn't fare so well. So I think actually rerouting his training for this mile distance on that fast Santa Anita track could be right in his wheelhouse. And I'll tell you what, I would not doubt the white-haired wonder Bob Baffert in this indication to have him ready to roll. So I'm going to give a lot more. I saw 20-1 just, on some websites and stuff, but he'll nowhere near be that. But if he's any kind of value, I think he'll be a very nice little bet in this race. So next up, we have the protege, Tim Yakteen's Practical Move. So this spring, Practical Move was considered to be one of the more promising Derby contenders in the country. His ascent to the top was fueled by a 4-race winning streak. That journey began with a victory in the Los Alamitos Futurity Grade 2, December 17th, late in the 2-year-old season. Then he continued on over with winning the first out as a 3-year-old, 2.5 length victory in the San Felipe. Then that was on March 4th, obviously, mile on the 16th. He defeated Go Rocket Ride in that race, so that was tough enough for me. That was followed by a gutsy stretch run in the Santa Anita Derby, where he held off 2 hard-charging closers in Skinner and Mandarin Hero. That was 1.1 miles on April 8th. Practical Move on a roll. So just about as he's ready to take his shot in the Kentucky Derby on May 6th, he gets a minor illness, forcing him to scratch from the race, and setbacks training. And I've mentioned it in previous videos, when 3-year-old, it's really crucial time in their training. So to lose ground like that is a tough setback. That kept him sidelined until August 13th. He made his return to the racetrack at Del Mar. In the weeks leading up to the comeback, Practical Move was hard at it, putting in weekly breezes, and the moment of truth arrived October 6th at Santa Anita, where Practical Move showcased his talent after the setback and dominating the competition, cruising to a 4-length victory while covering a mile in the allowance optional claiming. I think this sets him up to be a very fresh horse come the first Saturday in November. And but I have been on record with my feelings about Tim Yakteen. I feel like he's underachieved with these the elite 3-year olds that he's had recently, especially those he got from Bob Baffert over the last couple of years. Just doesn't seem to be able to get him over the hump. But maybe Practical Move would be different for him since it was his all the way. So we'll see. Zozos. Gotta admit, one of my guilty pleasures, horses to bet on. He always brings it. Trainer Brad Cox secured his spot in the dirt mile as his talented charge. Zozos delivered a front-running victory by a length in the Akak Stakes, going a mile on September 30 at Churchill Downs. Jockey Florent Giroux, they did hit the stretch, and Florent Giroux, the jock, had to shake him up a bit down the stretch, but he did respond beautifully. So Zozos, 4-year-old Kentucky-bred son of Munnings, is no doubt making some waves. So anyway, he previously claimed victories in the Knicks Go overnight at Churchill on May 6th and the Hanshin Stakes at Ellis Park July 2nd. He's a really, really solid miler going at this distance, so I like that. The obvious concern is class. Zozos, classy horse, grade 3 company. He seems to thrive, but lack of grade 1 experience is somewhat alarming. The only attempt he's ever had in a grade 1 race was the 2022 Kentucky Derby, 10th place finish. So, Dreamlike, in his 3rd career start, made a very notable mark in the grade 2 Wood Memorial earlier this year at Aqueduct. The race was a slogfest thriller down the stretch. Dreamlike actually is in the lead coming down the stretch, does end up finishing 3rd in a breathtaking 3-way photo. You can see it. I'm sure if you've watched racing like I have, you've seen this finish, and it was shown a lot over the Derby Trail because Lord Miles ended up winning just hair on a biscuit over Hit Show, and then even a mere head, Dreamlike finished 3rd. So what made Dreamlike's performance even more impressive was the fact that he entered that 12-horse field of the Wood Memorial as a maiden. Despite this, he had garnered significant attention and respect. He went off at odds of just a little over 3-1, so he was actually the second choice in the field. Faith in Dreamlike was built on his previous achievements, including back-to-back second-place finishes in his first 2 career starts at Gulfstream Park. Todd Pletcher, renowned trainer, obviously we all know and love, is the mastermind behind Dreamlike's training. He's got an impressive pedigree as well, being sired by Gunrunner, who's one of my all-time favorite horses, and is out of the mare Time to Tap. So, champion filly in her own right, Breeders' Cup Distaff winner. Further underlying, Untappable actually is the champion filly. That's in the lineage as well. So, Untappable, champion filly, Breeders' Cup Distaff winner. Just further underlining the exceptional lineage. So, I think we have one here that could round out the exotics at a nice price. Now, in the world of horse racing, Skippy Longstocking is a name that's making some waves, and with good reason. It's not just a clever name. He's got 4 graded stakes victories in his last 8 starts. I believe this fresh and determined 4-year-old Bay Colt might be a dark horse to watch out for in the dirt mile. Under the watchful eye of trainer Saffie Joseph Jr., Skippy Longstocking's most recent performance in the Charlestown Classic on August 25th showcased his talent and marked his 19th career start. The dominating victory in that race was a testament to his growing list of accomplishments, including the West Virginia Derby, Harlan's Holiday, the Challenger, all grade 3s, which have collectively pushed him over the $1.5 million mark in earnings. While Skippy Longstocking typically races from off the pace, his recent gate to wire victory at that Charlestown highlighted his versatility. So I appreciate that in a horse. I love horses that can do it both ways. So back in 2022, Skippy Longstocking made his presence felt in 2/3 of the Triple Crown Series, fifth place finish in the Preakness, and a solid third place in the Belmont. So the pedigree is equally impressive, sired by Exaggerator and Out of Twinkling, with some war chant in the lineage. Colt was purchased for a mere $37,000 by Daniel Alonso, is a longstanding client of the trainer Saffie Joseph. So as Skippy Longstocking prepares for the Breeders' Cup Classic, his training regimen continues over the Oklahoma training track at Saratoga, and he's been maintaining a consistent breeze pattern. And their dedication to his readiness for the journey across the country to Santa Anita is already been established. Okay, Charge It. Charge It feels like a horse I think that will benefit from running in this race much more than his first preference of the Classic. I don't think Charge It has a chance to maybe even hit the board in the Classic, but he has a chance to win this race. I point you back to 2022, where inexperience got the better of Charge It in the Kentucky Derby, as he was a well-beaten 17th place, going a mile and a quarter of the Classic distance. He ran that right back in the Grade 3 Dwyer Stakes we're watching at Belmont Park on July 2nd. Went off as the odds-on favorite, lived up to the hype, and then some, winning by a stunning 23 lengths while covering that mile, the same distance, in 134.67. That blowout was his last race of 2022. So we fast forward to 2023. We find Charge It getting off on the right foot, winning at first outing, going a mile and a 16th at Gulfstream. He continues the good form, running multiple 100-plus Brisnet speed figures, peaking at the Suburban, where he wins by open lengths once again, in an impressive 108 speed figure. That's Equibase speed figures. It's a little different than your buyer numbers. But a 108 speed figure is grade 1 class. He entered a tough Whitney field, obviously, and we've talked to this ad nauseum. White Abario left everyone in the dust, so that fourth place finish is all not too bad, in my opinion. Now, his latest effort was unfortunate in the ending, because I thought he was in pretty good spot as he runs hard in the Woodward at the Belmont at the Big A. And you can see him, they hit the stretch. He's making up ground. He's kind of caught inside, then gets open, and he's butted up against another horse there. I think I circled it. And then the rider loses his crop with about a furlong to go in the race, and was unable to get any kind of kick to the finish. So that was kind of an unfortunate mishap there by the jock. It happens. But I do like Charge It in this field. Like I said, I think he's got a good shot to upset the favorites. So definitely in my early looks pool for value. So last up is Algers. Algers boasts a rich racing history. His journey began under the guidance of the legendary French trainer André Fabre, and he marked his maiden victory near Paris in 2020. Then Algers joined the training partnership of Simon and Ed Crisford, making history as the first officially licensed duo in the UK. Algers has come in his 6-year-old season for trainer Simon Crisford, much improved. He was particularly strong on the dirt track at Maidan Racecourse in the United Arab Emirates. In the early months of 2023, he left a trail of victories in his wake, dominating the Al Maktoum Challenge rounds 1 and 2 before clinching a very impressive second place finish in the $12 million Dubai World Cup, getting just run down the stretch by Derma Sotogake. The sire, Chamerdal, won the French 2000 Guineas, French Derby, and St. James Place within just 1 month back in 2005, a triple crown, so to speak. The dam side equally impressive, with Antara earning her own accolades as a 3-time Group 3 winner in Europe. I think Algiers could gain some steam as we approach the first week in November. So I'm going to keep an ear to the ground for any news on him. So now we get down to the end, and we're going to rank these Elite Eight milers. So I'm looking for some value. So mine may look different than yours. Okay, so first off, I do have Codys Wish ranked number one. I think a bounce back is certainly possible. I don't think it's going to take his best to win the race. I think maybe his A minus or A, maybe even B plus game could win this race, depending on how the pace of the race and whatnot goes. So if National Treasure gets out there and sets reasonable fractions, he may have a tougher time closing. So he is, I think, a favorite, deserved, but vulnerable as well. Number two, like I said, Charge It. I think it's got some really, really nice mile races where he just dominated. So I'm putting him number two. National Treasure, I think, is my pick number three because of the change, the cutback in distance, and the Bob Baffert trusting in him to have this horse, you know, change up the pace a little bit and prepare him. I think the horse is fast enough and good enough to run that mile just fine. Practical Move is fourth. You may have him ranked higher. I just have my suspicions about Tim Yakteen and his abilities to get this horse over the hump. I now winning the Santa Anita Derby is one thing, but winning a Breeders' Cup race, this will be the signature win of his career. So best of luck to him. I don't have anything against the guy. I just think he squandered some great opportunities during Bob Baffert's absence from the Kentucky Derby. Zozos, number five. Like I said, guilty pleasure, just not grade one tested. So I have to put him five. Dreamlike, number six. That was 5-5. I mean, that might be just a tied at fifth between Zozos and Dreamlike. I really like Dreamlike. I think it will pick up some steam. I just think it's run some really, really strong races. And if it's improving and peaking in any way, could be a real threat and have some value. Obviously, number seven, Skippy Longstocking. Number eight, Algiers rounds it out. So let me know what you think. We're getting closer and closer day by day. I'm going to keep cranking out content. So I hope you're enjoying it. Smash the like, tell 5 friends, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Till next time, see you soon.